Welcome to MDP Coins. We unravel the fascinating story behind one of the most extraordinary numismatic discoveries ever discussed, a 1981 cent United States coin that has stunned collectors and enthusiasts alike because of a mind-blowing estimated worth of around $30 million, a value so astronomically different from its ordinary 1 cent face value that it almost sounds like fiction. Yet its potential rarity, error characteristics, minting anomalies, and unique quirks create a compelling mystery that keeps audiences captivated. So today I'm taking you on a non-stop journey through how such an ordinary-looking penny could rise to the status of a once-in-a-lifetime treasure, why errors can multiply value beyond imagination, how the smallest flaws transform metal into history, and what exactly makes this particular coin so intriguing that experts, treasure hunters, and coin lovers continue to speculate about its incredible potential. Now imagine holding a simple 1980 penny, a coin most people drop into a change jar without a second thought, yet hidden within that piece of copper-plated zinc could be features that defy all expectations, because in rare cases certain coins from 1980 may have left the mint with astonishing errors such as off-center strikes, broad strikes, double die obverse anomalies, die cracks, die breaks, misaligned dies, clipped planchets, incorrect metal compositions, and even the possibility of the wrong mint mark being punched into the die. And it is these kinds of dramatic variations that collectors chase feverishly, especially when multiple errors stack together in a single specimen, creating a coin that transcends common rarity and enters the realm of ultra-elite collectibles. And when you consider how millions of pennies were produced in 1980, the idea that one single coin, one tiny fragment of circulating currency, could emerge as an absolute standout with a perfect storm of multiple minting mistakes is what energizes speculation and fuels dreams of unimaginable value. Just picture a 1980 penny mistakenly struck on a completely wrong planchet, perhaps on a leftover blank meant for a foreign coin or a transitional alloy that slipped past quality control, and then imagine its strike being misaligned so drastically that portions of the design spill off the edges, distorting the familiar Lincoln portrait and the memorial reverse into surreal shapes that only the rarest mint errors exhibit. And now add the possibility that the mint mark, instead of being perfectly positioned, was hand-punched incorrectly, too high, too low, sideways, doubled, or even the wrong mint mark entirely, something that could theoretically happen during that era when mint marks were still applied manually, creating a scenario collectors consider extremely valuable. Combine that with a potential double die obverse where Lincoln's profile appears subtly doubled, his features ghosting just enough to be visible under magnification, and you start to understand why experts debate how high such a coin's value could soar if all these anomalies were present at once, since the numismatic market often rewards layered error complexity exponentially, not just additively, meaning the more rare features appear together, the rarer the coin becomes, and when rarity crosses into territory so narrow that perhaps only one known example exists, the value becomes nearly impossible to predict, sometimes shooting into figures that challenge imagination. And this is where the $30 million conversation begins, not because the standard 1980 penny is valuable in everyday circumstances but because the hypothetical existence of one ultra-rare specimen with multiple catastrophic minting mistakes could attract billionaire collectors, high-end auction houses, museums, and private investors all fighting to possess the only known example of its kind. And auctions for unique numismatic items have been known to surpass expectations, especially when a coin carries an aura of mystery or legend, making its value more about prestige, symbolism, and scarcity than about metal content. Now think about how minting errors come to be, because the process is fast, mechanical, and precise, yet even precision systems occasionally fail, and when they do, the result can be magical for collectors. So a coin from 1980 could have been struck on the wrong planchet because leftover blanks from prior years or foreign coin contracts may have been mixed accidentally, resulting in a penny that weighs differently, sounds different when tapped, or reacts differently to magnets and composition testing, and that alone can create staggering value. But pair it with a dramatic misstrike, say, a coin struck 70% off-center so that Lincoln's head is pushed far toward the rim, with blank space on one side and distorted features on the other, and collectors instantly take notice. And if this incredible mistake happened on a coin that already had a double die, where the lettering Liberty or the date 1980 appears layered or shadowed from hubbing errors, the desirability skyrockets. But imagine we go further. Suppose the mint mark, whether D for Denver or no mint mark for Philadelphia, was punched incorrectly by a mint employee, perhaps tilted or entirely mismatched to the production location, creating one of the rarest categories of errors the mint mark blunder, and if all of these features appeared simultaneously on one flawless or nearly flawless specimen, untouched by circulation wear, never scratched or damaged, then the coin becomes a time capsule of minting chaos, a perfect storm of flaws preserved in metal, a specimen with error layering so extreme that collectors would consider it priceless, and in such cases, value is determined by what the wealthiest bidder is willing to pay, not by any standardized pricing guide. Collectors have paid many millions for rare variants of coins like certain cents, nickels, dimes, and dollars, especially when only one authenticated example exists, because such pieces become centerpieces of legendary collections, drawing attention, scholarly debate, and sometimes even museum exhibitions, and the mere possibility that a 1980 penny with layered errors exists fuels fascination, especially because the 1980s were a transitional decade for coin production techniques, with changing alloys, manual mint mark punching still in use, and high-speed machinery occasionally producing unpredictable outcomes under intense pressure, meaning a 1 in a billion anomaly could theoretically slip through quality checks, end up in circulation, and await discovery decades later in pocket change, an estate box, or an inherited jar of old coins. Imagine, for example, a penny struck on a dime planchette, thinner and lighter than usual, missing portions of design due to the smaller blank, yet bearing unmistakable traces of Lincoln's portrait mixed with the faint distortion from the mismatched strike. And what if that same coin included a die crack splitting through Lincoln's profile, like a dramatic lightning bolt of raised metal slicing across the obverse, further enhancing the uniqueness of the anomaly, or a detached die cut, a raised blob of metal created when a piece of the die breaks away, leaving missing design elements, a sign of catastrophic die failure that collectors love. And now stack these features on top of the hypothetical mispunched mint mark and double die effect and wrong composition, and suddenly you have a coin so unusual, so rare, so astonishingly unmatched by anything else from its minting era that collectors would regard it as the holy grail of Lincoln cents, a once in human history mint error so outrageous that its estimated value could indeed move into the tens of millions. Not because the penny is inherently worth that amount, but because its combination of errors places it in a class of its own, a class where rarity eclipses logic. The psychology behind value in numismatics is fascinating because ultra-wealthy collectors are not merely purchasing coins, they are purchasing bragging rights, they are purchasing the right to own something no one else on earth possesses, and when such competition arises, prices inflate dramatically, auction fever takes hold, and values jump into realms that defy expectations, as seen with many record-breaking coins throughout history, and this is why discussions about a 1980 penny worth $30 million are not entirely about the coin itself but about the magnitude of its hypothetical error stack, the allure of uniqueness, and the power of collector demand. And so as we explore these possibilities, we realize that the minting process, though strict, is not infallible, and one unnoticed slip could give birth to a legend. A humble copper-colored disc that transforms into a multi-million-dollar relic. The fascination grows when you realize that such a coin could technically still be out there, unrecognized by someone who assumes it is ordinary, or tucked away in a forgotten envelope or jar, and the idea that such life-changing treasure could be hiding in plain sight is what keeps people searching their pocket change, scouring estate sales, and examining old boxes of coins stored in basements and attics, because when a single penny, thanks to multiple minting mistakes and an extraordinary mint mark blunder, could theoretically yield millions, the hunt becomes not only exciting but irresistible, and that excitement is what continues to fuel interest in rare error coins, creating a community of people united by curiosity, hope, and the thrill of what might be waiting to be discovered. So as you watch this, imagine the number of factors that would have to come together perfectly to create such a specimen: wrong planchette, dramatic strike error, double die, misplaced mint mark, severe die cracks, off-center alignment, flawless preservation, and compal